Good afternoon, Saturday students. Now I am going to explain the poetry Ode to a Skylark, okay, by Percy Bysshe Shelley. Now, first we must know what is the meaning of an ode. An ode is when we praise something which we like. Okay, it can be a celebrity or a famous actor or hero, can be a bird of your own choice. So whenever we talk or praise something or dedicate something to a particular person or a bird or an animal, then we call it an ode. Okay, in praise of something, right? So here we will talk about the praising of a skylark. Now what caused this praise, this ode, was when the poet P.B. Shelley, popularly known as P.B. Shelley, when he was walking down in England, when he was walking across the fields, the countryside, during the spring season, he heard a sound of a bird. Okay. And he was walking with his wife, and he was very fascinated. It was like a magical spell. The song of the bird was so good. But when he looked up to see from where the sound was coming, he couldn't see the bird that was actually singing. But he knew that it was the song of a skylark. Okay. Now, in this particular poetry, you are going to learn some figure of speech. One is a simile. Okay. And the other one is a metaphor. Now these are the two important figure of speech that a poet uses to add an additional touch to his poetry. Now what is a simile? A simile is a figure of speech when we use to compare one thing to another. Okay, he is as good as, he is like. So whenever you have these two words used, like and as, these two words are a clue to understand it is a simile. Okay. Now keep this in mind. And what is a metaphor? A metaphor is also a figure of speech which we use to compare one thing to another, but directly. We don't use the word as like and has. Now as we go about poetry, and I'll be explaining how to identify a simile and a metaphor. Okay, we keep that behind our backs while I explain the first stanza. Hail to thee, blind spirit. That means we are praising. Like how we say, Jai Ho. Okay, the same way, we are praising the bird. He says, hail to thee, blind spirit. Now, blind means cheerful, full of joy. Spirit is the bird. Okay. So what he has done, he has used a metaphor. He has compared the bird to a cheerful spirit. Spirit cannot be seen. Okay. It has something to do with something which is very lively. So here it has got two senses. Either the spirit, what we call the soul, which cannot be seen, or relating to something full of life. Okay. He uses the word spirit because he cannot see the bird. So this is a metaphor where the bird has been compared to the spirit. Because when he searched for the bird, he couldn't see the bird. So he has compared it to the spirit which cannot be seen. Okay, now this is how a metaphor is used. Then bird, thou never wert. It says you are a bird. Okay, but unfortunately I cannot see you. Because while he was walking across the countryside, he heard the beautiful sound or song of a bird. But when he looked around to see from where the sound was coming or who was making that sound, he was not able to see the bird. That is why he has compared it to the spirit. That is how we use a metaphor. That from heaven or near it. What does it indicate? That the sound was coming from above. So he feels that it is the spirit that is coming down from heaven on earth. Okay, so he feels, he is enjoying the music because it is coming from top. Alright. Pourest thy full heart in profuse strains of unpremeditated art. So now he is discussing or explaining in which form the bird was singing. Nobody was forcing the bird to sing. It was during the spring season. And here the spring season means everything comes to life. It is full of life. Even you find the flowers blooming, everything is very beautiful in the European countries, especially in England. Because he was walking along with his wife, and this is how he enjoyed the song made by this particular bird. Okay. And profusely means in abundance. It kept on singing and singing and singing. It was non-stop. And the more the bird was singing, the more he was enjoying it. Then he said, higher still and higher, from the earth thou springest, like a cloud of fire. He says, now, what he wants to say is, the bird from the earth, from down, the bird is flying higher and higher. Okay, it is rising up or flying towards the sky. Alright, the flight of the bird from the earth is towards the sky. How does he compare it with? A cloud of fire. Okay. Now this is the fire burning. Okay. When you burn sticks or you find a chimney. Now when the smoke comes out, it looks like clouds. Okay. It forms the formation. If you look at it, it looks like a huge amount of cloud. And these clouds, they rise up towards the sky. So he has compared the flight of the bird from the earth to the sky. In what way he has compared it? Like a cloud of fire. When I say a cloud of fire, means what figure of speech am I using? I am using a simile. Now, I hope you have understood this. The first line is a metaphor where he has compared the bird to a spirit which cannot be seen. The second figure of speech used is a simile where he has compared when the bird flies from the earth towards the sky, it has compared to a cloud of fire. The smoke that comes out from the fire looks like clouds. So here he is talking about the flight of the bird while it is rising or flying towards the sky. Okay. The blue deep thou wingest. The blue deep is now referring to the blue sky. That means he is flying higher towards the sky. And singing still do so, and soaring ever singest. Means now, what is very prominent or significant about the bird? While the bird is flying higher and higher, it continues to sing. So while the bird is in flight, it says you are only singing and singing and singing as you are flying towards the deep blue sky. Okay. Now, in the golden lightning of the sunken sun. Now, from when does the bird sing? One idea he has given when it is flying upwards. But he says, in the golden lightning. In the golden lightning means we are referring to the morning time, dawn. Okay. Right from dawn to the sunken sun. Sunken sun is referring to the setting of the sun. That means from dawn to dusk. In other words, from morning to evening, you could hear the sound of the skylark. Okay. Now, see how he has used the word. He didn't say from early parts of the morning or from dawn. It says in the broadening lightning of the sun, of the sunken sun. In one line, he has already mentioned that the bird sings from morning to evening. Okay. Over such which clouds are brightening. Now when the sun sets or when a cloud is covering the view of the sun, what do you notice? That on the border of the clouds, you will see there is a light. Okay. So, now what does it mean? He is flying upwards. And what is the light? That lightning. So these clouds, they are dark in color, but when it faces the sunlight, the border of the clouds, they keep shining. That is why in English there is a saying that every dark cloud has a silver lining, which means a ray of hope. Okay. Now, he is talking how the song is blending with its environment. Okay. So, at that particular time, the bird is flying and it is singing, and the surrounding areas are all enjoying because it is spring season. Okay, though the clouds are dark, but the bright sun is actually making the border shine. Thou dost float and run like an unbodied joy whose race is just begun. It means that the way you are singing, there is nobody to stop you or prevent you, but you carry on and carry on singing. Now the pale purple even. Okay. Now the pale purple even. Now the purple is actually the color of the sunset. When you see the sun setting, there is a different kind of a color which looks purplish. Pale means weak, because now the sun rays, as it is setting, it is becoming weaker and weaker, and the color that it throws on light is practically purplish in color, even is a short form for evening. Okay, now the sun is beginning to sink beyond the horizon. Okay, then melts around thy flight. Now this is compared, this purplish scenery or scene is so good. People, they go all over the world just to witness a sunrise and sunset. This is what your song defeats, it melts, fika ho jata hai in compared to your song. In the broad, so like a star of heaven. Now we know you are there, but you cannot be seen. Like the stars, again we are come to a figure of speech known as a simile. The bird has been compared to the stars. Daytime we cannot see the stars, but we know it is present over there. Likewise, we can hear your song. We cannot see you, but we know that you are still there. I shall keep it till here. Then I'll be sending some word meanings. Please learn. Thank you.